Whether it's a live feed of recent earthquakes, accurate elevation data, or a thematic base map providing context to your own data, having access to authoritative, ready-to-use location services is fundamental to the work that many of you do, not only saving you time and resources, but allowing you to focus on solving your problems and helping your communities. So today, to spread awareness of what ready-to-use content is out there, I'd like to give you an update on what's new with ArcGIS Content. As many of you will be familiar, the ArtJustLiving Atlas is a repository of ready-to-use maps, apps, layers and more curated by Imagery, distributors, partners and members of the global GIS community. In New Zealand, we have a variety of services available, including administrative and environmental data from Linds's Base Data NZ, base maps curated by Eagle, and boundary and demographic layers shared by Statistics New Zealand, and much, much more. Accessing these datasets is as easy as a click of a button across the ArcGIS platform, whether you're browsing in ArcGIS Online, ArcGIS Enterprise as of version 10.8.1, or even within ArcGIS Pro. And you can make the Eagle and Esri base maps even more accessible by adding them to your own base map group. Not only can you view this data in your own mapping applications, but you can also use it as ingredients in your own analysis. For example, you may want to enrich or aggregate your data, such as summarising the number of schools within the Taupo district, as shown here in ArcGIS Online, or likewise within ArcGIS Pro or Insights. Getting on to the latest additions to the ArtJustLiving Atlas of New Zealand, Linds have released several new layers, including the Mean High Water New Zealand Coastline and Fire Emergency New Zealand Localities dataset. Here at Eagle, we've recently revised our approach to boundary layers. Since 2018, we've been uploading New Zealand administrative boundary layers on behalf of Stats NZ each year. For example, separate regional council boundaries for 2018, 19, 20 and so on. However, due to user feedback, we've now created a new current layer for each boundary type, meaning you can drop this layer into your map and watch it update each year, rather than hunt down the latest stats boundary. We've also recently worked with the Fiji Bureau of Statistics to make the Fiji census data more readily available. And finally, we've been making some improvements to the New Zealand Imagery base map, which I'll fill you in on in a moment. Moving now on to raster base maps. Many of you would have been using Eagle's raster base maps or Linds's topographic base map for quite some years now, and we've recently been showing these a bit of much needed love. The New Zealand Community Base Map is one of the most widely used base maps in New Zealand. However, due to our focus shift to vector base maps, it hasn't received an update in several years. This is why, in an update coming later this month, we've updated the road network using OpenStreetMap, and we've also updated and prettified the Linds place names. This is, however, our last planned update for the New Zealand Community Base Map, and we strongly encourage you and your organisation to begin using the New Zealand Vector Base Maps if you've not done so already. Sticking with the theme of raster base maps, let's talk about the New Zealand Imagery Base Map. This base map brings together the latest regional imagery captures made available by Land Information New Zealand. In an aim to align this base map with the vector base map offerings, we're making a few changes to this layer. This includes creating a new service, which now allows you to zoom to 1 to 70, whereas previously you could only zoom as far as 1 to 282. And in the coming months, we'll also be including another new feature, the much anticipated bathymetry. Goodbye blank background and hello blended bathymetry. We'll be making an announcement shortly on this when it will be available, but for now we recommend searching for the New Zealand Imagery latest in the Living Atlas and adding this to your organisation's base map group. And if you're not a fan of the bathymetry, not to worry, we do not currently have any plans to deprecate the existing New Zealand Imagery base map. And now on to the favourite child of the base map family, vector base maps. Eagle have released 5 base map styles to date, based on Esri's vector base maps. And what make these stand out from their raster base map siblings is that not only are they more performant and compact, but you can customize the style of these base maps to meet your own needs. Plus, they're updated monthly with the latest Linds and OpenStreetMap data. And for those of you who require offline workflows, we also have the vector tile packages available, so you can have the whole of New Zealand offline in your pocket for less than a gigabyte. In terms of what's coming for vector-based maps, to complement the soon-to-be released NZ Imagery with Imagery, we're close to completing a New Zealand hybrid style for New Zealand, bringing you overlaid place names and roads. And at the request of many of you, we've also been working on splitting the labels from our base maps to create reference layers so your data is sandwiched nicely in between. And I'm sure you don't need reminding again, but you can discover these base maps by browsing the ArcGIS Atlas. Moving away from the Living Atlas for a moment and onto premium content. For those of you who are working in fast-moving industries where aerial monitoring and operational oversight is important, Eagle have partnered with a number of premium imagery providers, including Nearmap, Maxar and Planet, with Nearmap providing fixed-wing, 6cm resolution imagery for New Zealand's main urban centres, once or twice a year, Maxar for tasked, multi-band satellite imagery, ranging from 15 centimetres to 50, and finally Planet, offering near-daily satellite imagery at a 3-metre resolution or less. These offerings largely complement the regionally captured imagery, which is captured approximately every 3 to 5 years. And best of all, they all seamlessly integrate with the wider ArcGIS platform. And the last topic I wanted to talk about today is elevation data. As part of LINZ's National Elevation Program, 1 metre LiDAR is being captured for much of New Zealand, allowing us to create 3D products and services for use in applications such as ArcGIS Pro, the ArcGIS Online Scene Viewer, and geo-enabled systems such as ArcGIS Urban. Last year, we released an elevation and hillshade layer, taking your mapping data to new heights for Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. However, as more regions become available, we'll continue adding the latest captures to these services, so stay tuned for that. In closing, hopefully you've discovered some new location services for use in your own work. Or if your organisation is interested in making your location data more discoverable and you'd like to lend a helping hand to your fellow New Zealand GIS professionals, I strongly encourage you to contribute to the ArcGIS Atlas. And finally, if you have any feedback or suggestions on what data you'd like to have readily available at your fingertips, please get in touch with us at livingatlas@eagle.co.nz. Thank you.